I think it was Chuck Dickens who said it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And, I don't know, it could be a tale of two cruise lines. Royal Caribbean having a good and a bad week. Star of the Seas is on the seas, but people are coming at them. Cruisers and other cruise companies, Carnival with a huge announcement coming directly at Royal Caribbean. Plus, we've got a cruise line celebrating 1 year in service for its premier ship. That plus a whole lot more in today's episode. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to the Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face, your whole face. It's for your face on a Tuesday, the 12th of August, 2025. And man, let's talk about Royal Caribbean. We covered it pretty extensively over the last few days that the Icon of the Seas, the world's second largest cruise ship, had a failure of its water slide. The Frightening Bolt water slide. And it's, for whatever happened, a big chunk of that water slide fell out while a guy was on the water slide. And fortunately, the guy didn't fall out of the water slide, but he received some lacerations on his body, apparently from his feet to his hands. And that just happened just a couple days ago. Well, there's already a lawsuit in the works. This gentleman has taken his bad experience on the slide and he's taken it to a law firm. And now Royal Caribbean will be embroiled in a lawsuit. We already know the name of the lawyering firm that's going to be doing this. They're called Lipkin, Margulies, and Winkleman. They're a top law firm that specializes in maritime and passenger injuries. They've thrown out a quote, "Our firm has decades of experience handling cruise passenger injury cases and unfortunately incidents involving material or design failures aboard cruise ships that are something we see far too often." So it sounds like this company is going to be going at Royal Caribbean, potentially suggesting, I haven't read the brief, potentially suggesting that there was some sort of failure of maintenance or negligence in this water slide accident. But look, if they're found to be in the wrong, certainly they should be held accountable for it. So we'll see what happens. And it's just wild. It didn't take long at all. Like, is that cruise even over yet? I'm sure that, the cruise ended this past weekend. So injured guy got off the cruise ship and found himself one of them lawyering firms. And now there's going to be a lawsuit. How about that? Crazy world. So I just spent the last 15, 20 minutes cleaning off spam text and spam email from my phone. I have to do this once a week. My data is out there on the internet, and your data is probably out there on the internet too. Anytime we sign up for something, we consent. A lot of times we're consenting to have our data bought and sold by data brokers, our data stored in data warehouses. But what a lot of people don't know is that part of that consent is our right to revoke their usage of our data. And all we have to do is reach out to these data brokers and say, quit using my data. The challenge is, who are these data brokers? Where are these data warehouses? That's why I'm thankful for the sponsor of today's episode, Incogni. Incogni is a service that works on your behalf to get your sensitive data removed off of the internet. It's a very simple process. You sign up with Incogni, you authorize them to work on your behalf, and then you sit back as they send these requests to the data brokers to get your data removed off of the internet. Wow, to date, I've had over 500 requests sent out on my behalf to have my data removed. I think 416 of those requests have been completed, which means less of my data is out there on the internet. Less of my data is out there to be hacked or to be used by people that are trying to sell me stuff or to be used by people that are looking to do me harm. You can try Incogni for yourself at a discounted price. Scan the QR code that's on the screen. Go to the link, www.incogni.com/La Lido Loca. Use the code La Lido Loca to save 60% off of your annual Incogni plan. Get your data off the internet. Thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring today's episode. Okay, let's leave Royal Caribbean alone for a minute or two and talk about some celebratory things. before we talk about Carnival's big announcement and how that announcement goes directly at Royal Caribbean. It's getting crazy up in here today on a Tuesday. Let's talk some exciting stuff. The Margaritaville at Sea Islander has celebrated its first year of service for the Margaritaville at Sea brand. It was an old Costa cruise ship that was purchased by Margaritaville at Sea. It's now been transformed into the Margaritaville at Sea Islander, and I think it's a really fine cruise offering. I've been on that cruise ship twice. I really like that cruise ship. It's really close to my house, 45 minutes away in the port of Tampa. And if you're looking for an interesting alternative to the major cruise lines, the Royals, the Norwegians, the Carnivals, and you want to see something that's kind of themed out for Jimmy Buffett, but you don't have to be a Jimmy Buffett fan to appreciate the cruise, go on Margaritaville at Sea Islander. They bought a new cruise ship. They're going to have another one, the Beachcomber, that's coming out soon. And I think we're pretty close to hearing about where the home port for the Beachcomber is going to be. I feel like that announcement's any day now. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, also, let's talk about something that's going on with the Holland America line. And if you're out there and you're a Holland America line fan, wake up. I'm making a joke that Holland America line's for old people. It's not. Okay, we can quit making that joke. Like, you don't have to be cocoon age to get on Holland America line, but they are announcing something that maybe older folks might enjoy. They've announced that they're going to have an astronomy cruise for the 2026 eclipse. I guess that's unfair too, to think that maybe only old people like astronomy. Youngins out there. I mean, I'm old. I'm 50-something. I like astronomy. 3 ships, 3 routes, 3 distinctive astronomy experts will take to the seas in 2026, giving travelers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience a total solar eclipse from the heart of the ocean. Once upon a time, I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart because of an astronomer on a Holland America cruise line. Nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the sun, solar. Shout out Ludacris. I was going to do the other classic Ludacris song, It's a Star Man. Wait. Whew. Too much caffeine today. Shout out Ludacris. Look, go to Holland America line. I don't know what the ships are. I could look. Let me look it up. Nieuwstatendam, the MS Oosterdam, and the Zuiderdam. They're all going to be in the path of totality. So you're going to be able to totality. There's a lot of people who love the eclipse out there. I think this is when the alien mothership is going to show up for real. Some people say that the alien mothership is going to show up in November, but I think it's probably going to show up during the eclipse, during the totality. Wouldn't that be what? Could you imagine being on, look, I don't actually really believe in aliens, but could you imagine being on a cruise ship in totality during a solar eclipse, and then the Silver Surfer shows up and heralds the coming of Galactus? I herald Galactus. That was a good movie. Yeah. Are you interested in these? What's this microphone do? Are you interested in these solar eclipse sailings? I think it would be cool. I love going to Alaska and hanging out with the naturalists, talking about whales and other things like that. So I'm assuming if you're on one of these solar eclipse cruises, having a full-on astronomer there. I wonder if Neil deGrasse Tyson, is he an astronomer? Galileo. There's that. Okay, let me tell you about this Knoxville couple that also went to court to get some money back. This is a crazy situation, and this is one of those don't ever use a travel agent stories. So I hate to share it because some people always feel a way about travel agents anyways. I like travel agents. I think that's the best way to book a cruise because you can lean into the thousands of hours of experience of most travel agents if you find a good one, and they can help you out. But sometimes it goes awry. And that's what happened to a retired couple. They booked a cruise through a travel agency and they paid the cruise in full. But before they went on the cruise, they noticed that both of the sailing, like the documentation for the sailing for the 2 people, had just one of the person's names on it twice. And so it was like, Bob Smith and his wife, June Smith. And I think Bob had 2 tickets for the cruise, but June had no ticket. She had no ticket to paradise. And so they called up the travel agency and said, look, we only got the Bob's ticket and we got it twice. What are we going to do? And they're like, well, you can just easily add a guest to the room so that June could get a ticket. And they're like, yeah, but we already paid for it. And he's like, well, look, the cruise is just a couple days away. This is the only way we can get it done. And so they booked an additional guest for an additional $1,800, and they went on their cruise, and they came off the cruise, and they're like, hey, we'd like to get that $1,800 back because there's been some sort of mistake here. They went to the bank saying, we really shouldn't have been charged this additional $1,800 because it was just a, kind of a clerical error. And the bank reached out, I guess, to the travel agent and said, well, no, it's, that's an extra guest charge. That's non-refundable. So they wouldn't give the people their money back. And so Bob, I'm using different names, but so Bob took him to court, took him to small claims court. They represented themselves. And they said, hey, look, we got the receipts here. We paid for this cruise in full, but because of a clerical error, we had to pay this extra $1,800, and now the bank won't give us back the money. And then the court ordered the bank to give them back the money. And so, it really soured them for travel agents. But it's an outlier event. It doesn't mean that every time you use a travel agent, you'll have a bad experience. But that certainly happened to those people. But it's a good cautionary tale. It's a good reminder to check your cruise stuff well before, a few days before your cruise, because they didn't even realize it until they started to check in, and it was too close and to get it fixed in a correct way. There you go. That's kind of interesting. That's a wild choice because, essentially this family was faced with either you pay this extra money right now or you're not going to be able to go on the cruise, which is a bad scenario. Anywho, it is Tuesday, and normally we would do a live show on Tuesday, but we've got company in. Jenny's childhood best friend is in, and so they're going to be in for a few days. So we're going to be we're going to be out painting the town red, as it were. That doesn't mean we're going out to eat it. We just have a side job where we have to paint people's stuff. That's an interesting phrase, right? To turn a phrase. No, I don't know what we're going to do, but we got company in, so no live shows tonight. And now let's get back to Royal getting beat up on a little bit. And this time we have Carnival coming out with their big announcement. Now, they don't really reference, Royal in their announcement, but I'll make a bow on it. Carnival has announced today that starting in 2027, they're going to take their biggest, newest hardware, the Mardi Gras, Carnival Mardi Gras. It's like 3 ships old now, and there's going to be another one in place. But they're going to take that, the big XL class cruise ship and do short cruises. Dun, dun, dun. Normally, you can only do a short cruise on Carnival on like an old ship that's still being held together with duct tape. That's an exaggeration. But most of the time when you do a 3 or 4 day sailing on Carnival, it's going to be like a 10 or 15-year-old cruise ship. And it's not always the nicest hardware. I think we're all adults here. I think we can all agree on that. It's not the nicest hardware. And so I don't know where Carnival got this idea, but they said, maybe, what if we take some of our newest hardware and do short cruises on it, providing people that want just a quick getaway to some of the nicest Carnival experiences. I don't know where that idea came from. It's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. So now the Mardi Gras, they're getting the new XL class cruise ship. What do we got? We got Carnival. We got the Mardi Gras. We got Celebration. We got the Jubilee. And now I think we're getting Festival and Tropical, something like that. So whichever one's going to Port Canaveral, that's going to be the 7-day cruise ship. Celebration's still going to be doing 7-day cruise ships out of Miami. But now this extra hardware is going to free up the Mardi Gras to do short cruises. And so Carnival's getting into the short cruise, the mega ship short cruise business. And like I said, who had that idea first? Come on, loyal to Royal fans. You're saying, well, that's what the Utopia's doing. That's the experiment that Royal's doing. That's right. Royal got chicken sandwiched. They came out with their chicken sandwich, the short mega ship cruise, and now Carnival is on board. Mixed emotions. Some people don't like it. I like it. I think it's smart. Especially you got this cruise boom going on right now. More people cruising than ever. Can you give somebody a sampler of your best hardware? And I think, not everybody's ready to sign up for a 7-day cruise, right? And so, especially if you want to take a 4-day cruise and it's on some old hunk of junk, is that really going to turn you on to cruising? Is that going to bring you back? I mean, it did for me. I went on a really old ship, and just for 3 days, I loved it. But that may not be true for everybody. I couldn't imagine if I would have went on a brand new ship for just 3 or 4 days. That would have really blown my mind. But that's what's going on. That's what's going down in Funky Town. That's the big announcement from Carnival Cruise Line today. Shout out to all the new subscribers. You guys are getting it done. And dag nabbit, I love each and every one of you. Welcome to all the newbies. We're trying to get to 300,000 subscribers. And so it doesn't cost anything. If you like the show, if you could do us a solid, just hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 300,000 by by the end of the year. Be a part of the local fam, and I'll think really great thoughts and say thank you. It really helps us out. Thank you. Look, that's everything that's going on in cruising. Thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring today's show. And look, there's really nothing left to do here but danser, dance, you cut the rug, do a jig, dance. That's right. Get up, get up.